It's an experience I never thought in my whole life I would have, because you know how Love to the World has been at the forefront of national reorientation programs. And we've gone everywhere. We went to the presidency, we went to the Senate, we've gone everywhere, actually campaigning all over this country about how we should have a change of attitude, a change of minds, so that things can truly work. And I worked so hard on it, such that some people even thought, are you okay? What's your own with Nigeria? So the last thing on my mind was that a day would come when I'll be detained in Nigeria and be taken to court for something that I didn't even know. You know. So that was a painful experience, but on the flip side, I'm the kind of person that I look at the positive side of everything, because I kind of think that the whole of the life we live is everybody's passing through a process. And whatever pain you happen to go through, it's supposed to get you better. It's supposed to help you understand the plight of another person who is going through that when you come out of it. So I've had that experience now, and if I see anybody who, if I hear that somebody is being detained, I can imagine what the person's going through at that point. And so it helps me understand life better.
So were you maltreated real time?
No, I was not. So the background is this. I worked in an organization for over 20 years. For over 20 years. And after a while, I resigned. After over 20 years, I resigned. And in fact, right inside of that organization, I saw it like a space where I need to contribute. I always thought about, okay, whatever I'm given to do, if I do it properly, it will make things work. So it wasn't really for the pay. If it was for the pay, maybe I'd have resigned a long time ago, because there were even times, they give other people increments and I did not get. I had a lot of those kind of stuff. I don't want to talk about it here at all. So I felt like whatever I did was a contribution to the society, so I was going to do my very best at it. And plus, it's a service to God, because we were trained to work as unto God. So, and I think that God is seeing me, whatever I'm doing, and if I do it well, it's good for everyone. So, I resigned. I also didn't think that a day would come that same organization, where everyone said, oh, she deserved an award. I even got commendation letters. And would do what they did to me. So after resigning, 2 years, or after 2 years, going to 3 years after I resigned, they came to say that they overpaid me. And that, so I really don't want to go into it, because there's a matter around it right now. So, well, in the long run, they seized everything I'm supposed to get, was seized from me.
But whose fault was that? That
they made it.
They should even try to seize your pay, because one is that if something like this happens, it's not your fault. So why should they even seize your pay?
Well, that's why I said that. Earlier on I said that there are places where the matter has been discussed at the moment. And for that reason, I won't be able to go into the details. So I'll just skim around it. Okay. So, well, surprisingly, of all the fraud that takes place inside of Nigerian companies and all the time, this was not, and it had nothing to do with fraud. It had to do with that they mistakenly paid, whether they made a mistake and so. But well, by the time the EFCC came into the matter, they already seized what was due to me. It was already seized. They said they were using it to recover
what they paid.
Yeah. Whether that was legal or not, whether it was legal, because they did it without my consent. Whether it was legal or not is left for people who handle legal things to handle. So I won't even talk about it. So I've given you a background. Now everything that I'm supposed to earn has been seized, okay, already. And it was very painful to me, because I felt like if somebody just did his job very well, I would have had to go through this pain. And why would people who I worked with so maliciously, because everybody who talks about how I work, the people who write down how you work at the end of every year, you see them say, oh, she's an asset, oh, she's a contributor. And my work was in public. Everybody gets it. A lot of people get to see what I do.
There are some news you hear and you wish they were folk tales, but they seems to be true. Mrs. Josephine Anumba, someone I know very personally, and known her for well over 12 years now, 12 to 13, if not more. Right? She worked in the NNPC for a while, and under the leadership of Kyari, the former group managing director of the NNPCL, she had resigned some years ago, I think, but Kyari made the EFCC to arbitrarily humiliate, embarrass, torture, and even detain her for what they say overpaid salaries. I don't know, that she was overpaid while she was working. This is somebody that has worked meritoriously and resigned. And if I don't know Mrs. Anumba, I would have thought, okay, maybe there are one or two. This is somebody that has spent, at the point I met Mrs. Anumba, she'd used her own personal money to organize trainings for young, idle people in some part of Delta State, Isoko to be precise, where she's from. And she organized trainings, organized empowerment, organized events, reorientation, mentor, build up, invite people. And that's why I met her. I volunteered as one of the ushers, one of those events that she'd used her money to do. And so she did that consistently. And sometimes she got even government support to do a few other projects. But primarily, she had started to run reorientation of. It's good because she's one of those people that used to say, no, Nigeria. She sang about Nigeria, did so much about Nigeria. I've shared a couple of her videos here before. I was shocked to see this video, to see her current ordeal, that she's been tortured and detained by the EFCC after serving Nigeria. This kind of stories are quite enormous. There are plethora of them everywhere. My father, for example, had few years to retire serving as a public servant in Nigeria, died serving Nigeria, got an accident while working. And then the problem is not that anything and he died. The torture the family went through and tried to even secure any form of documents to establish that he's died in service was hell. And when you begin to say people should love Nigeria, Putin, these are the points. For at least, leave my father. You think it's personal. Look at Josephine Anumba, for example. All of the effort this woman, at least I saw it with my eyes. I contributed, I served under her, worked under her, and now look at what she has to go through. I've had to tell her, so this is the end. After all of this, Nigeria, they live in Nigeria. I will make videos early, she will call me that time. I say, no. She will say, no, Joel, let me tell you, Nigeria is going through a phase. See now. How can you say you overpaid people? Are there no systems to check and you take somebody through torture and detention? I even hear right now that our pension has been affected because of this particular deal. After serving for over 20 years. People serve 10 years in some countries and they are due for pension. Somebody served for over 20 years and you take her through this level of torture.